we gather in the cosmos bright. Stars and ships take flight tonight. In the void where dreams do play, soul citizens lead the way. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads and endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed. Squadrons call on the horizon. Battles fought, our hearts aren't frightened. In our ships we face the dawn. Soul citizens carry on. Oh, planets spin and light years fly. Boundless space where hopes reside. Brotherhood in every star. Soul citizens, here we are. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed.
Hey, greetings. Welcome back to Soul Citizens. I am GriffinGamingRPG, and it's very dark over here because I didn't turn my lights on. I am so glad to be here today with my two good friends and co-producers of the Soul Citizens. I have fastcart FC and also the one and the only SeriousFun. How are you, my friend?
Greetings and salutations. How's everybody doing?
Good. I had to brighten myself a little bit.
Hope everybody's doing well on this Sunday before tax day.
Oh God, yeah, tax day tomorrow. Yeah, I know. I still have so much stuff to get together. It is going to be definitely extended tax thing this year. But anyway,
I need the extensions.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
See, that's my job, is to bring the level low, then we can raise it up with the rest of the show.
Oh God, yeah, that definitely did it. Well, it's good to be here with you, gentlemen, again this week as we continue with a new topic. Our show this week is called The New Kids on the Block. This is actually going to be us going back and looking at the ships that were launched during the year 2024. We're not going to go 2025. We're just going to do last year. Because most of them now we've had some time to dabble with them and check them out. Some of us have flown them, some of us have just seen them. And today we're going to be giving you our thoughts on these ships and their role within the Star Citizen universe. And so hopefully you guys will enjoy this. We want to encourage you guys not to forget to follow us in our social media. You know what? We have increased our numbers and viewers over the years, but we don't ever really talk about it very much. And we know that many of you all are faithful viewers to the show, particularly those of you who are here right now. Shimpasta, good to see you. Pops in Space, Prisoner, thanks guys. Fabric, good to see you all out there. But we always want to encourage folks to, when you have an opportunity, don't forget to like and subscribe to our various, we're on everything, TikTok, Blue Sky, X, Instagram, what else are we on, Fastcart? YouTube, and is that it?
iTunes, maybe?
Yeah, oh God, yeah, I forgot about, we do podcasts too. We never really talk about that. We're on iTunes. Yeah, we're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're on Soundcloud. We're all over the place, even on the RSI website. So like and subscribe, click on it, follow us. We appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. I'm always, I don't know, maybe it's because we've been in the game for a while now, but I'm often amazed at sometimes by the time the year comes to an end, there's this thing of whether or not we feel like anything was done in Star Citizen. And, most of the times it's reflective in relation to content, game features, bug fixing, things like that. But then there's also like this feeling sometimes that it doesn't feel like maybe any ships came out. But then when you go back and look during the year, you realize that quite a few ships come out, right? And we've noticed that over the last few years in particular. In 2024 definitely was an interesting year. The year before, Fastcart, myself, Sirius, all three of us, right? We went to CitizenCon in Los Angeles, and CIG showed 10 ships on the screen that year, right? That they said that we're going to get these out next year, 2024. Do you guys remember that?
Yes, I do.
Were you like, oh yeah, or were you like, oh yeah? Which one were you when you heard that?
Well, that whole thing was tied up in my favorite ship, which is at the end of our show tonight. So I was very excited about, the work that they were doing, their commitment to the RSI brand, and I thought it was fun. It was a new way. I don't think they had done that before. Those silhouettes.
Okay.
It was a new way to generate interest and excitement. In the one mechanism that I think no matter what, year on year, we're going to see some output in, which is shipbuilding. So I liked it.
Okay.
Asgard, what about you?
For me? Oh,
yeah.
I was excited. I was like, oh yeah, but I was like, okay, cool. I'm looking forward to some of those ships. Not all of them, but I'm looking forward to some of those ships. So yeah, I was excited-ish for half of them maybe.
Okay.
Well, and I think you say it the right way, because what I'm excited about is the fact that I'm not excited about all of them. If you get what I'm saying, right? Like there's a lot of.
I'm boosting you guys up right now as we speak. Go ahead, keep talking.
Okay. For me, the idea that there's lots of types of ships, and I'm only interested in some of them, and I'm not interested in a lot of them, but that those other ships are interesting to other people, and that the universe. Walt Whitman says, I am large, I contain multitudes. And that's what I want for ships anyway. So I was excited to know that there was a bunch of ships that were out there doing a bunch of roles that just weren't for me, but that they existed in the universe made me happy. So, yeah.
Okay. Give us a second here, gang. We're having this audio issue again this week, and I'm going to try to boost them as much as I can, but I have yet to figure out. Ow, I feel good. Who was that? Drowse. Thank you, Drowse. So good to see you. We appreciate you. Thank you for dropping in with us today. It's better. All right, I'm going to try to make it even better. Hopefully this will be better. Go ahead and give us a test, guys.
Test 1 2, test 1 2, in the place to be.
Is that better, gang?
Like SFC for SHORT. Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
FC is still low?
FC is still low.
Okay, that's weird. What about SeriousFun? Is he low? Oh, he says SeriousFun is good, but FC is low. One more time, FC.
Test 1 2, test 1 2. I mean, if you want me to say some jokes, I'll be more than willing.
God, please don't.
Right then, the volume will go up too.
All right.
Yeah, I'm looking at new kids on the block singles right now. So tonight we're gonna throw the right stuff and step by step. So how about that?
All right, I got him at he's in the red. He's in the red for me. All right, says he sounds good. Okay, yeah, that's really weird. Okay. Yeah, Discord was at 70% for some reason. Okay, well, we're here.
And Dros, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Those subscriptions.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Oh, yeah, thank you.
10 months in a row.
Yeah. So Fastcart, I'm going to go back to you for a second. So when you heard that they were going to do 10 ships, I'm not referring to interest in, like, is there anything you're interested in? Did you think that they would deliver, or did you think that was ambitious?
2023?
Yeah. That was the year when they
I
put the
remember.
10 silhouettes. They put the 10 silhouettes up there.
Right. I remember. I'm trying to remember my thing. I think I was 75% confident that they get most of them.
Okay.
If not all. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was a little surprised. Now, here's the other thing that was interesting. At the end of the year, out of those 10 ships, if I'm remembering correctly, 9 were delivered. 1 wasn't.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. No,
Right.
2. No, 1 wasn't. 2 weren't. 2 weren't. I'm sorry, 2. The Guardian wasn't delivered at that. No, the Guardian was delivered. It was.
Guardian, yeah.
It was the what's the thing called? The troop.
The Legionnaire.
The Legionnaire.
Yeah, the Legionnaire. That's it. That's the one.
And I remember people being upset because they didn't get that one ship in. I don't know.
You can't please everybody. You can't please everybody.
There were actually 14 or 15 ships that were delivered that year. So it was just interesting that
in addition the 4 in addition to the 10, yeah.
Yeah, and so it was kind of interesting that even though they delivered most of what they were going to do plus a few more, and maybe I don't know if it was because maybe the people were just looking forward to the ship or the gameplay. I didn't see the gameplay in the game, so when they said that ship wasn't coming in, I kind of felt like, well, if they don't have the gameplay in it, you know, whatever. But it's an interesting feeling. But we're gonna say fastcart.
For me, I don't think there's much interest in the Legionnaire. I think people were just grousing to be grousing, and that's what it felt like to me.
I want to see it.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I want to see the Legionnaire, but the gameplay's not there.
But you went like, oh shoot, they didn't deliver it, were you?
No. I wasn't. No, when they said that they weren't, and they said why, I was okay with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just kind of. Maybe I'm in that weird boat where I do want ships when they come into the game to have some of their functionality in them. You know, I don't want another cargo ship. What I mean by that is I don't want another ship that's something else and all you can do is use it for cargo. You know, I want ships to have their function in the game. So,
well, the Legionnaire was a particular case of that, right? In that if it came into the game, people expected it to come with boarding ships gameplay. Right. And I think people thought, well, this is an extra additional onus and burden on this particular ship, which makes it more likely to slip because CIG had made a commitment at that point to not drop ships without their associated gameplay.
So, does that history affect us then in the sense of because they've told us that that's what they want to do, that maybe there was a subconscious thing of believing that, well, if they're bringing that in, maybe shipboarding is coming soon. And so therefore the ship not coming also brought disappointment that game mechanic wasn't coming. Is that maybe what it was people were feeling a certain way about, not just the ship, but the fact that the gameplay, when we hear that ship is coming in, we figure, well, maybe the gameplay is going to come, right? And neither came, right? So do you think maybe that might be why people felt a certain kind of way?
That's part of it. I also think Togi's got a piece of it in the chat, right? Okay. Which is the one ship that didn't get done was the one CIG already got the money for, right? In its concept sale, right? And so the ships that were generating new money got done, and the ships that and were the gameplay
didn't get done.
So I mean that's a reasonable challenge.
Yeah.
I think for me, what what was funny?
Drakazog gave me a subscription. Thank you, Drakazog.
Oh, nice.
Thanks, Drakazog.
Fastcart just in time too. That's about time you subscribed. For me, I always look at this through the lens of what I understand game development to be, which is there's always slippage, there's always choices. I was frankly surprised that the number wasn't 70 to 80% of the ships that we've seen, and that it was as high as it was. So I was pleased, right? And the why behind it, I sort of just let wash off my back, right? But I get why people might lean in with discrete concerns.
I think there's a battle that goes on, and I think it's different for everybody. I think there's a consumerism side that says once you pay for something, you expect delivery of something. I think there's the side that people look forward to just the fact of, they see something and like the ship, like the Legionnaire, and they say, "Ooh, it'd be such a cool ship to have." And they don't care if it works or not. They just want to have it. And then there are the people who actually want not only the ship, but they're also hoping that the gameplay and the functionality comes along with it too. And so you can have like these 3 different levels of why people might feel a certain kind of way when a ship doesn't come. Like the people who feel like, I've been waiting for my so-and-so for the last 8 years, but this other ship comes out and it was just announced 2 years ago, right? So it's interesting in that prospect. And then it's interesting in the sense of a game that is being developed, features that are being developed, mechanics that are being developed, which under any other game situation, you wouldn't run into that. If you ordered something or bought something, if it was a DLC or if it was some type of cosmetic, it would be complete in its entry into the game. Where this one does not give us that. We don't have the luxury of that, unfortunately. And it would make things a lot nicer if they were, but it's unfortunate that that's just not the way it is in this one. So, all right. But anyway, I just wanted to give some background about 2024 and what led into that. And so now let's go ahead and jump into what we saw happen this year. So fastcart, why don't you go ahead and get us kicked off here with our very first ship here?
Okay, the very first ship is the Anvil S-17 Hornet Mark II. It is the latest generation of Hornet space superiority fighter. It is the civilian variant of the F-7A Hornet Mark II. It features, the weapon in the civilian variant of the F-7A. It can still pack a punch with a size 4 or a pair of size 4 guns and 2 missile racks that hold 4 size 1 missile each. The cargo variant, this variant replaces the central turret of the cargo box that it can usually carry 2 SUs of cargo, and the F-17 Mark II cargo can be swapped out for other options.
Okay. Now, do you own this ship?
I own the Super Hornet.
You own the Super Hornet, but because you're in the Hornet family, but you have the Super Hornet. Okay.
Right.
I don't know, this ship came in and it was interesting. This was the first, correct me if I'm wrong, this was the first in the series of Mark IIs where Mark I's were remaining in the game. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Because
we've
had Mark IIs and 3s of the Connie, but the old one would go out and the new one would come in, right?
Yeah, but they were never labeled as such. I mean,
yes, they were.
This one actually says Mark II. No, the Constellation still says Constellation Environment. It didn't say Mark II in the name.
Not in the name.
We know it's a Mark II. Yeah, we know it's Mark II or Mark III or whatever.
Yeah,
but
like the 300i.
Yeah, well,
the 300 series.
Yeah, I see what you mean in the name. Yeah, but
Mustang.
I'm not talking about the label though. I'm saying the Connies are on Mark IVs now. Okay, so right. I'm just saying. Anytime a Mark anything else came in, and I understand what you're saying, they kept the designation here because both ships are in the game, right? Whereas with the Connies, the old version would go out and the new one would replace it. Hey, Grim, good to see you, my friend.
Hey, Grim, I want to give him a shout out.
Yeah, give him. You did. Thank you. Thanks for giving our good friend a shout out. So that's it. I don't own this, but this game came in, and this ship came in, and boy, it was controversial.
Why is that, Griff?
particularly post F8, right? The F8, the ultimate superiority fighter came in, and then the F7 came in and kind of showed that the F8 may not have always been the ultimate superiority fighter, right? Serious?
I think that the F7 Mark II was beginning to fit in.
Yeah,
people were figuring out where it fit in. I think it's the military variant, which is the F7A, that people had a lot of concerns about, right? And that there wasn't really, in terms of the way people fly PvP in particular, there wasn't really a competitor to that ship.
I don't know, right? Doc. I'm telling you, there were some people that felt this ship was better.
The sea level.
Hey, y'all in chat, tell me if I'm wrong. Was the F7C some people boasting that this sucker was like the meta at that point? Y'all let me know. I know.
I mean, Griffin, I think it might be fair to say it depends on who's flying. Some people may prefer
that's always
to fly,
the case.
And that's always the case. So,
just the F7A? Okay, I'm wrong. I got my ships all mixed up then. I thought this was it too.
Yeah, no, I think the F7C range. I think the F7C range was fitting in to people's experience of different combat ships.
Okay.
The F7A was
the Challenger.
It was the first military ship we got access to. Even our F8 is not the military version.
Exactly, civilian. Right. You know? Okay, all right. Radder, excuse me 1 second. Hang on a second. Radder, thank you for the gift sub. We appreciate that. Go ahead, Fastcart. I'm sorry.
Didn't people have to jump through more hoops to get the F7A than they had to get to the F8?
Mm-hmm. There was something else. What was something else they had to do? I don't remember what it was. So long ago now. I don't remember.
Like that. I mean, the F8, you had to get that the gold ticket, and it wasn't that difficult. Some people still had difficult. It depends on who you talk to. But the F7A, you had a whole rigmarole, as people like to say. So we had to jump through in order to get that. So yeah.
Mr. Field says he wants the F7X. That's what he's going to go for.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so I'm wrong, guys. Forgive me, I was wrong. F7A. Okay, but the F7C. Do you own one of these?
Yeah, the F7C. I don't own one, but I did.
Oh, you did?
But I melted it. Yeah, I had the F7C and the F7A at one point, but I got rid of all that. And the after flying it, the war bond on this was, I think, like $160.
Okay.
The standalone was a little more than that, maybe $10 or $15. Oh, $175. Yeah, I was gonna say $10 or $15 more than that. The you had to do the overdrive initiative to get the upgrade to the F7A. And for me, this felt like, if you just take away all of that and just think, well, what's the how does this feel relative to the Mark One? Right? It felt like a smart evolution of the Mark One.
Okay.
Right. Okay. On its own. Right. I compare it to how I felt, and this was also controversial at the time, how I felt about the evolution of the 300 series, right? This felt more fully realized, felt stockier, it felt stronger. The Mark II just felt better overall. I'm not a Hornet guy, so it's out of my life, but I enjoyed. I felt like I understood where they were going with the next step of the Hornet series.
Fun. That's how Michael Jackson song. We're only doing New Kids in Black song tonight. out of my life.
Okay, that's fair. All right, let's move on to the next one then here. These are actually two that we're going to cover here. Sirius, why don't you go ahead and hit these up on the Mirai Pulse?
Oh, okay. Let me do that. So the Pulse is a compact grav cycle by Mirai, an open canopy bike with a form-fitting silhouette and an intelligent, integrated combat system. The Mirai Pulse is a fast, nimble vehicle for all planetary needs. The standard version showcases exceptional combat capabilities. Equipped with a size 2 laser repeater mounted on the nose from the factory, engaging enemies directly has never been more thrilling. Performing jousting, hit and run, or bank and flank tactics is now more effortless than in the past.
Yeah.
And then you have the Pulse LX version. And the Pulse LX is a compact racing grav cycle from Mirai, an open canopy bike with a form-fitting silhouette and a focus on speed and maneuverability. The Mirai Pulse LX is a fast, nimble vehicle for all your racing needs. The operator's mastery over their Pulse is facilitated by the exceptional blend of rapid velocity and accurate handling. The LX model, featuring an extra maneuvering thruster, secures a strategic advantage on the race course, allowing it to outstrip, outmaneuver, and decisively conquer the competition. Right, and for me, the competition, of course, is the APOA Nox, and while the Pulse LX, which you can't put weapons on, the racing one, is quicker to accelerate, and so wins like over the short distance. It still doesn't have the top end of the APOA Nox, so it depends on the course you're on. But the Pulse LX came out from Mirai and was immediately competitive in that arena. So, yeah.
Okay, interesting. I remember when this thing debuted, it had an explosive debut. That's because it blew up a lot. It blew up a lot. And this is one of those examples to me where, you know how like when a new product comes out, you like kind of wait to see what's going to happen with it, you know, to see if it's okay. This was that product for me. What are you going to say, Fast?
Was it reminiscent of the Note 7? That's the phone that
Not
blew
that
up.
phone. That phone that blew up.
Oh God!
It was reminiscent of that.
It was just like
Half
that.
the people on our show do not know what you're talking about again, Fastcart. I keep telling you that, okay?
It's recent. It's only 7 years old.
Yeah. But that was a difficulty with it. I remember going out with some folks several times, and the grab lev system was really bad on it. It was taking damage even when it was above ground, and it was just horrible. But people loved it because of its compactness, the fact that they could fit this bike in virtually any ship and take it with them wherever they wanted to go. Where normally, to your point, Sirius, the Noxes, the Dragonflies, these are big monster bikes. I think maybe even the X series is just a little smaller than those, but this thing you could put in a freaking Drake cutter and take it out somewhere with you. And people loved it, and people still do love this particular bike. Mm-hmm.
I think people surprised CIG by where they were taking it, because people were taking it into underground facilities and completely missing with the normal pulse, because it was so small and compact. It could fit within the doors. I don't know. People just still do that, but yeah, that was one of the controversies with this chip in particular.
Yeah. Now, I haven't ridden one in quite a while. In fact, I don't even own one anymore. But I don't know if it's stable. So chat, I don't know, maybe Sirius, if you've written it recently, is it stable now? Other than the fact that I know Jade mentioned about GrabLev, and that's kind of wonky on all bikes, but is it no longer dangerous to ride, or is it still kind of a volatile bike to ride? Do you know?
I haven't ridden. I think I rode a Pulse once in maybe the last few months. Mr. Fields from YouTube says he still finds the Pulse very explodey.
Okay.
When it works, it's too much fun, but he hasn't been on his for a few cycles. I think that's where people are. Togi says the problem is it doesn't have enough fuel.
Oh, wow.
So when it is working, you're not going far.
Wow. Okay. I guess that makes sense to a certain degree, I guess. It's not considered long range.
You and Raba and I were in the game the other night, and we saw people. They weren't bringing pulses; they were bringing dragonflies.
Right.
So,
right.
But the pulse, once they get it down, I think that size is just going to be compelling because there's so many different ships you can bring it in. So.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So Togi said 1 kilometer uses 5% of the fuel.
Wow. Yeah, that is short range. Holy smoke. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the RSI Ursa Medevac. This is also known as what we call the NURSA, nicknamed it, is an all-terrain medical ground vehicle. It plays a crucial role in delivering vital medical assistance to the forefront of any land-based mission by incorporating a Tier 3 medbed into the already esteemed attributes of RSI's Ursa, such as its exceptional speed, maneuverability, and resilience. The notion of failure is no longer intertwined with death and dismemberment. The Ursa Medevac ensures that your severely injured infantry does not have to endure prolonged wait before rejoining the battle. Swiftly mend their wounds and swiftly return them into the forefront of action with the Ursa Medevac. Another controversial vehicle, not because the vehicle was controversial, but because of the promo video that came out with it. This idea of in the commercial, there was a statement of coming back like 1,000 times or something like that, right? and to set the community on fire. And it's and this is in somewhat, I think, maybe because of the fact that the aspects of what we've heard, and I'll say that loosely, about Death of a Spaceman, and then seeing that commercial seem to bring a lot of areas of question and conflict. Also because we haven't heard what the ultimate end of direction is of where they want to go with things like this. There were some intriguing things about this vehicle, though, that I'll share with you guys, and then you guys can give me your thoughts. One of them, and we talked about this last week, I'm still interested in what are the limitations that are going to be put in this game on all vehicles. And when I say that, I mean, for example, what will be ammunition limitations? What will be battery limitations? What will be the healing aspects of things like the Pisces and this? Right now, we have these almost infinite areas of doing things, but their design shows that there will probably be something that is much more resource based that you'll have to manage, because it's not like this is just like an automatic machine. It's going to be things that you have to do. Maybe even if you take damage to these vehicles, maybe the cloning system does not work in it anymore, or if you don't have enough of the particular, as we just saw now with this new thing they're doing in the game right now with this material that's needed to regen, if you don't have enough of that on you, will there be problems? And so, yeah, you could do it 1,000 times, maybe as long as everything is okay. But what happens when you don't have enough resource? What happens if it gets damaged? What happens if the batteries are not up? I'm curious if they're going to take this to that level so that people who are involved in medical have a much deeper and richer experience than just walking up to a panel and pushing a button. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I've got hot space opinions on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer almost any of the variations that you described to the straight gameplay loop that I see now.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that in the short, mid, and long term, CIG is always wrestling with the question, who is Star Citizen for?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And in the meantime, while they're figuring out Death of a Spaceman, and now, as Richard Tyrer said at CitizenCon, Death of a Spaceship and all that other stuff, having this as an interim feature kind of fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't count the idea of giving the community something and then taking it away is always a problem, it's kind of fine to have this right now.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the medevac, I think, needs some of those additional things to keep Star Citizen generally the type of game that I'm interested in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know others are interested in, which is a game of planning and consequence, and a game that takes time, right? So, or Ursa medevac that goes out into the field and requires certain modules, or requires a certain health condition itself in order to function fully, or requires additional outputs that come into the medevac to be able to do regen versus being able to heal people who get back into a bed. That's interesting to me. The recycled regen over and over, no matter where you are, just so that we can get through this mission because we should have finished the game already and value my time, makes, for me, Star Citizen just typical, right? And it'll get a typical gamer cycle, and gamers will typically move on, right? And then, we will be left with these systems that don't really drive long-term gameplay. They drive Twitch get in and get out gameplay, right? And so my hope is that they're thinking about that. But for me, the medevac and that commercial represented a material shift, at least in the short and midterm, in a direction that I thought was problematic.
Okay. FC, any thoughts about this one? Go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I thought the commercial was problematic. People who are in the community and been for here for a few years, we knew better about that. I died 1,000 timeline, but people are worried about people who are coming in fresh faced to Star Citizen don't know anything. I think this might have skewed their not preparation, their thoughts of what the game would be compared to what the game is currently, or what the game will be. This is your famous line, Griffin. We should worry about what the game will be compared to what the game is now. So yeah, I worry about it in that aspect, but hopefully it won't be too bad because it's a vehicle. It's I don't know what percentage of the people are into medical gameplay compared to who think this would be a cool ship to have just because of that one feature. So yeah, I do worry, but hopefully it won't be too bad. But I don't know for sure.
I mean, the week that this came out, we all went to, and I think we were like 8 people deep at this point. we all went to a distribution center. I think it was one of the first times that we took Paradise and others to do a distribution center.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't deny that having the ability to regen right there kept us in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it also felt like the game that I had before that, where it was like, oh, I need to prepare, right? I need to be more careful. I need to, my teammates will have a period of time where they're going to be without me now because of my choices until I can get back. Like those pieces of gameplay went away because we could all just come right back and run to our body. We might get shot again, jump back out, come out and run to our body. And, you know, and your name in the chat says it kind of killed the idea. You know, we had some folks who only came down to us to these distribution centers and these conflict zones because they wanted to be the medic, right? They were following us as the medic, right? And it sort of has taken them out of the game because that was the role that they had for themselves.
Right. So. Right. I think, and understandably so. I mean, I'm one of those people that enjoys medicine, the medical career. And this is not the first time where I've had a mechanic in the game that's something that I enjoy, that I feel is playing fairly decently. It may not always be working, but it's there. I can do it. And then all of a sudden CIG removes it. And you know, because you said this earlier about things being taken away. And for those of you all who've been with us for a long time, you know, you've probably heard me say this before. Things come and go. They've always done that in this game. There are some things that seem like they stay all the time. Then there are those things that they come and go. They modify, they change, they move up in tiers. There's some other aspects about this that people did not talk about, or it has not come up. One of them was they talked about that these vehicles will have a range on them. Nobody thinks about that. Everybody drives these things within close proximity of where they're at, and they go in and start using them. That's not what this is designed to do. They talk about how many kilometers out you have to be in order for this thing to operate. Why aren't we operating at the further distances? Why aren't we 5,000 or 8,000 kilometers out? There's a reason why they put that number there, which is going to say later that you're not going to be able to park right next to where you got off at this building and leave your ship. It also implies the fact that there are going to be people, maybe medical people, people who maybe aren't PvPers, who will stay inside of that vehicle and move it around when necessary, maybe even have to defend it if necessary. But that part of gameplay has not been introduced yet. It's in the specs, but we haven't seen it played out, which tells me that this is not the final end of what's going to happen with this vehicle and any other medical vehicles. So my encouragement to you all is, with all the frustration when things get taken away, I get it, because for some of us, that's what we come to the game to do. And then when it's not there anymore, we feel like, well, that's the thing I dug doing, and it's not there anymore. Now, what am I going to do? It just happens. It's a frustration, but this is not where gameplay is going to stop. And I think it's going to be much deeper than this, but we'll have to see. That's kind of my little encouragement word regarding vehicles like this and the Anvil Pisces. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. Fast Cart's back on you. The Argo MPUV. I'm sorry?
I was going to say the name. Yeah, Argo MPUV tractor. So the MPUV 1T multi-purpose utility vehicle tractor is a light transport snub ship developed by Argo Astronautics and is designed to transfer freight over short distances. Its chassis is equipped with 2 tractor beams to facilitate the handling of cargo, showcasing the distinctive cargo construction excellence, and a flexible configuration that can accommodate diverse loading tasks. Setting benchmarks in terms of rapidity and effectiveness, it is challenging to locate a freight business of high caliber that does not rely on a fleet of MPVs for its operation. It features tractor beam, modular flexibility, durable, and point precision engine.
Okay.
Oh, and this was Warbond at 35 and standalone for 40.
Okay. I have mixed feelings about all the MPUVs. This doesn't mean that this isn't going to happen. Maybe it will. There's a business side to this, and then there's a side that just makes plain old sense. The original idea of the MPUV was that this was a modular vehicle. That center section that you see there that has a cargo pod would be the same thing that carries a cargo freight box, a cargo pod with people, or it would carry the what's the other, the MPU, what's the other one called, the cargo, and the what's the other one, the personnel, the one that carries personnel.
Yeah.
The escape pods that you guys see on ships like the 890 Jump, those pods are the same shape as that. So my idea was that these ships would be multi-purpose, but CIG has gone down the road of putting out 3 variants of the same ship. So my question to you is, do you think that that will be the case? And I'm going to talk about this later on with Argo in particular. Will it be that ultimately they will make this whole modularity thing as it starts to solidify in Star Citizen, where these ships basically look like that right there? And then basically whatever pod you need to put on it, you just do that. And pods can be either purchased in game or paid with cash. Or do you think they'll stick with variants where it's hard built into it? The Argo Cargo's pod is hard built into it. The personnel is hard built into it. And they'll just keep this one for modularity for moving boxes around. What do you guys think?
I think it'll be a mix of both. Depends on what platform or what manufacturer. There either be high variants or the.
I'm referring to Argo only. I'm not talking about no manufacturers. I'm talking about Argo only. Do you think that these? I'm talking about those 3 Argo ships: the MPUV, E, the C, and the T. Right now, there are 3 distinct ships. But if you look at the design on them, it was supposed to be one main ship that was modular. Will they go to modularity later in the future, or will they keep them as variants?
Yeah, I think that they will create a module that allows you to go modular. But for some reason, if you buy a personnel, for example, you'll be able to get it to do these other things, but just not quite as well, right? Or if you bought a tractor, you'd be able to get it to do these other things, but just not quite as well. I don't think it'll be full-on modularity. I think in this particular case, the Argo case, if we're just talking about modularity here, I think they've sold what they've sold, right? They were interested in selling 3 different ships. And over the long term, they will give it some modularity, but I don't think it'll be 100% to continue to give value to having made those sales.
So would you, okay, let's see how the tracker is right now. The big thing on it is got the tractor beam, right? But if that was a universal unit and all you had to do was get the cargo pod, would you still buy it? Would you buy more of those? Or would you buy the variants? Okay. Well, okay. Well, let's say in game. Let's say in game. Let's say I'm talking about cash. Let's just say in game. Would you buy one unit that's universal, or would you spend the time buying different ones, different variants in the game? Because to me, it makes sense to go with universal.
If I'm given the choice up front, but I don't think CIG is going to function that way, right? I think they're going to function exactly the way they function.
So you don't think they'll make you don't think they'll make the cargo and the personnel one day where those just detach off and they could be universal? You think they're always going to be hard locked into those?
I think there will always be some level of distinctness for these ships.
Okay.
And I think the universality will be at 90% or 85%.
Okay.
Right?
Plague Dealer says there'll be 10 variants.
Well, and I thought, maybe I remember this wrong, but I thought that this was going to be a meat and potatoes ship of NPC activity as well, right? And so what I thought I was going to see, and I could be wrong, I could be remembering this wrong, or and things, to your point, things change all the time. But I thought that when we came to space stations, we would see NPCs unloading and loading and moving cargo and doing things with these.
Right.
And we would also see some station to surface activity of NPCs.
Agreed.
With these.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed. But there's also
so
on the
Idris. I really hope to see them mostly.
But they're also on the Idris too.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And I agree with you 100% about the NPC side of it. I think that is definitely the way we move from that magic box thing being moved to they get to the point where the AI are actually moving these boxes, like we saw in the whole C commercial,
Yeah, for me, I have to agree with SeriousFun. I would buy the I don't know, the universal one in game, and just swap out as needed. But as far as cash goes, it's not my thing.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, surprisingly, this was a very popular thing. When it sold, a lot of people bought these, and a lot of people actually do use them. I've seen video of people using them, moving stuff around in their hangars and stuff. So interesting. Okay, next one up. Sirius, this is on you.
The Saber Firebird is a medium fighter belonging to the Saber series, developed by Aegis Dynamics. Designed for swift and relentless assaults using its customized missile system, this high-velocity combat aircraft excels in launching rapid barrages. Its primary objective is to neutralize potential danger swiftly, leaving adversaries with minimal time to respond. This versatile fighter is equally proficient in embarking on extended range missions or swiftly mobilizing to safeguard your operational headquarters. Now, my experience with the Saber Firebird begins and ends here. We were going out to that racetrack out on Microtech next to the ice.
Oh, the ice
lake.
What's the place?
Somebody will tell us in
Jade,
chat.
what's the joint out there? The ice planet, where the racetrack is.
On Microtech.
The moon. Icebreaker.
Icebreaker.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Icebreaker.
And we were on our way out there to have some fun. And I had gone out there, and luckily Falcon had come through with a Aegis Saber Firebird, because somebody had followed me from New Babbage out the way and was just following me to just end my fun, right? And they got in front of me and they started to take shots, and all of a sudden, boom, they were blown out of the sky by them Firebird missiles, right? And so my experience of this ship is just lovely. I love it, right? Functions very well, does what it's supposed to do. Very nice. It's one of the few missile boat ships that I like. Somebody asked me about any upcoming missile variants of various ships and whether I was interested in them. I'm not interested in the Fury missile variant. I'm not interested in any other. This is the only one I like. I like this one a lot. So I like this one a lot.
So what I'm hearing is from SeriousFun, and I had to redeem a canned joke, is that they wanted to end your fun, but things got serious for them. So hey,
that's right.
Too bad for them.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, I have to go with the next ship. I don't have that much experience with the Firebird, unfortunately.
Okay. I've got this one. I'm a collector of the Saber series, and so this is one I have in my fleet, and I really enjoy flying it. It's very nice to fly. It's decent in combat. It's not the best thing out there, but it's decent. It pushes you a little bit more to do a little more. The one thing that I regret that they haven't implemented yet, and it's not just this ship, it just hasn't been brought into the game, is air-to-ground targeting. That's the big thing that I would love to see us be able to start doing with ships like this. I remember when this first came out, because of the design of the missiles, a lot of us thought that this thing was going to be able to do air-to-ground very easily, and we found out that it's been mostly air-to-air, so other than dumbfire. So I'm looking forward to the fact that if they implement that, that will be very, very cool, and I think that'll come a little bit later. But we continued with the expansion of the Firebird series to this next one, the Saber Peregrine. The Peregrine is a medium racing ship manufactured by Aegis Dynamics. It represents the pinnacle of speed among Saber models, utilizing the renowned military-derived Saber chassis and refining it for unparalleled velocity. This already aerodynamic structure is enhanced by custom thrusters and meticulously optimized engines, propelling the Peregrine's straight-line speed into an entirely new category. I know we have some racers out there. I am not a racer. And this is actually, I didn't buy this one. Normally I would, but I just wasn't sure about it because I don't have anything that's really designed for racing yet. And I've been trying to wait to see what is it I want to get, because I don't want to find myself buying one and saying, oh, I need to buy that one. So if for those of you who are racers out there, Jay just answered it. Peregrine is not a good racing ship in the 24-hour Crux Cup. And that's what I wanted to know. Is it all that the marketing says? I don't, because I took it out and flew it like once, and that was it, just to try it out. And it was fast, but I guess it all depends on what you're doing. The Razor and the M50 are still clearing it. Okay. All right, Jade.
Yeah. to Jay's point, I love the commercial for this program. If people may not remember, it had this fast flying ship just zooming by on the screen. As a matter of fact, it's one of my wallpapers for my screensaver. So I did like the commercial, but when it came down to the spec and the ship, I'm like, it was either this ship or the Razor, and I stuck with the Razor for me. So I didn't go with the ship, but I like the commercial.
Yeah.
The thing I noticed about the Peregrine was that it was turnable. So when Jay says the Razor and the M50 are way better, I can't turn in those things when they get up to speed. So you got to be expert at flying those ships. But I felt like just natural for, average to below average flyers like me who want to engage and get up to speed, the Peregrine turned much better.
Yeah, I was going to say, because one of the things I don't like about the Razor, I love the Razor's design. But when I'm inside of it, because of the way it's designed, I feel like I can't see down very well because that nose sticks out so far. I feel like I'm almost having to do this all the time to look over it, and it drives me crazy. And it's because so many of my ships have these great views of being able to see everything. So I know it's probably just a matter of getting used to it, and I hate it because I haven't bought it just because of that one reason. It's not that it's not a good ship. It's just, for me, I struggle with it. This one I'm thinking about, but I'll have to think about it some more. Jay's telling me that. I know things are balancing. There's a whole lot of stuff in the future that will happen, but maybe one day I will go ahead and go for it. She says it was the slowest ship on the trap, and that's for now, right? I mean, that's the way things are. Nothing's balanced, so not to take anything away from that. If it's the slowest thing right now, it's the slowest thing right now.
And that's a shame because it's the most expensive racer too.
Is it? Well, yeah. If that's the case, then that makes it even crazier, right? Okay. All right, let's go on to our next one here. What are we doing on our time? Yeah, we could take one more in. Fastcart, why don't you hit that one?
Okay, so we got the Argo Atlas. The assisted transport and loading system is a power suit manufactured by Argo Astronautics. It is designed to assist individuals in lifting heavy loads when manual handling poses safety risk and the use of a vehicle is not feasible. This durable exo frame incorporates a patented structural support mechanism along with a custom tractor system, which greatly enhances the user's strength, stability, and load-bearing capabilities. It features tractor beam, lifting power, precision, and it's ideal for ships. And it was war-bound at $35 and standalone for $40.
Okay. Have you tried this one out, Fastcart?
I have. No, I have not tried it. I saw a lot of reviews about it. I'm still waiting on the Titan. I know that's not the topic of this thing, but no, I did not try the Atlas.
Okay.
But I did love the commercial. It was very reminiscent of Aliens.
Okay.
Bay 12, please.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
What a great line. Serious, what about you? The Atlas. Thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, I pulled it out, picked it up, pulled it out very early on, and it was a lot of fun to begin to rank up in those hauling missions. I felt like some of the ways in which it moved cargo and the little hacks allowing you to grab certain things a certain way and move it a certain way were enjoyable. Once I ratcheted back down on the hauling and got back to what I do, which was exploring, it felt like it was money waiting to be melted. So I did that. But I enjoyed it. A lot of people had problems with the animations, the getting in and out of it. I had zero problems with that. Yeah, it didn't catch me or impact my gameplay in any way. Mine went smoothly, but I had seen that a lot of people had a lot of those concerns. But it is that in your hangar or at the freight elevator one trick pony, but its trick is pretty good, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
People who know me probably know I'm all about the Titan suit. And this one, I was really hyped to see it because I'm hoping the Titan suit is coming along soon. But this one, I'm like, once I got my the hype or excitement down, I'm like, okay, am I going to use this thing? And I'm like, maybe not. If I get it, I'll probably get it in game.
Yeah, exactly. And Captain Jones is revealing an emergent theme in tonight's conversation where he says this is another one that maybe should be modular versus additional variants, right?
Yeah,
so
that's actually where I was going to go. I had 2 disappointments with this. Well, actually 3. One of them was when I first saw this, I was hoping that it was going to be modular. I was ready to go for get 3 for $50, right? That was going to be my thought right off the bat. And then when it came out, it was $40 for 1. I'm like, what the? So that kind of killed that. That kind of killed that idea. Then they only sold them in a set of 2, which was like, I kept hoping that obviously tier 1, tier 0 was the tractor beam, and that was cool. And they get the bugs out of it. I said, okay, they've got that right hand with the tractor beam. Maybe that left hand will do something else over there. And I kept thinking they'll bring modularity in. Maybe there'll be a blowtorch over here and a tractor. There'll be something. But then guess what? The next one comes out, the Geo, and it also, same thing. Right hand does one thing in particular, laser cutting for mining. That left hand is still there. Now, that left hand is there for a reason. And I just want CIG to kind of give me some idea of where the value is of that. I'm saying that would bring greater value to me because it's got that same little, looks like a little magnetic pad that's also on Argo ships. And I'm really curious as to what that is. If it is something that is going to bring some functionality, then I think that brings the value, whether it's in-game money or real money, I think it raises it. But for right now, it's basically a pirate with a hook in its hand, as far as I'm concerned. It's just you just got one hand that you can use. There was a lot of controversy about the pricing on this too. People thought it was very expensive, but it also sold like hotcakes. Now, this is painful for me because I am a cargo person and I do not own one of these. Because I have, as you guys know, I have a rule.
Game.
Well, I know I was going to say, but I mean, I don't own one. Like I didn't buy one.
Right.
Because I have a rule about trying not to spend below a certain amount of money. I just work for them in game. But I want one of these all the time. But God, I could probably go out and buy a bunch of them. But
I can tell you what that other hand is for, Griff. That other hand is for, and it's we've got a preview of it in Klesher. It's for Rock'em Sock'em robots. So get ready.
Is that what it is?
DJ,
Okay.
I'm not the one who joked this time.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Plague Dealer says maybe it's a charger. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm just curious to see what else there is there. Now I know that we just recently we won't even go into that yet. But anyway, this thing sold well. A lot of people like it. A lot of people use it. They prefer the tractor beam that's on it because of the way it works. But I think it also has a distinctive use that also doesn't. I think that each one of the tractor beams all have their purpose. I don't think that any one of them eliminates another one. Some people feel differently, but I think that they hit on something pretty decent with this Atlas thing. Okay, we're a little bit behind. We're going to get on our commercial real quick. Thank you guys for being here with us today. As always, we appreciate you. We're going to be right back in just a hot second. We just got to make this one quick commercial break, and then we will continue with our ships from 2024. Thanks for being here today. Alrighty.
Now, you know what it means. You know what it means if you can still see us now. That means that's it. You in the in crowd. You part of the squad, right? You on the team, and we're thankful.
Yes.
Right? We're thankful.
Absolutely. We appreciate you all.
See how hyped he is now that he's not hosting or doing technical stuff?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's freed up. Yeah,
I'm not breaking the show. Yeah, I'm very hyped.
Well, thank you guys for being here as always. Hopefully you'll be able to be here to join us. If you haven't had a chance, by the way, last week our episode from the producers came out called 800 million plus, 800 million plus or more and more. So check that out. I think you'll really enjoy it. We've had some great comments from people who said they really enjoyed that. And also next week, we're doing a show called The Best Damn Space ? And we'll explain what that's about at the end of the show today. So hopefully you'll be able to join us next Sunday for that show as well. So as always, thank you guys for the subscriptions. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the financial support. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes.
And as we are back. We are back. And for those of you who may have just come here, by the way, we just saw, who was that? Who said we are sub goal hit? Radarid, thank you. I didn't see that earlier. Radarid gave us something 40 minutes ago. Rad, thank you so much for that. You gave that, thank you. It was a gift sub. Thank you. We appreciate that. Old Master 66, thank you for the follow. I missed that too. God, I'm so far behind here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see. Let's go ahead and continue on with our legacy here. Where do we leave off on the Argo? Yeah, okay. So Sirius, I think this was on you.
The CSV-SM, or Construction Support Vehicle Supply Model, is a terrestrial vehicle produced by Argo Astronautics, specifically designed for the transportation of cargo from one location to another. It is particularly well suited for transferring goods between outposts and for the conveyance of construction materials. It shares its chassis with the Argo CSV-FM. Right? And so this has got a 4 SCU of storage. And, you know, when I think of this, I think of these are the types of vehicles that I can imagine helping get to a base that, you know, I'm helping build out, you know, Soul Station when fastcart and Captain Jones decide to build out a base. That we will need several of these, but we also going to need some roads.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Where we going? We don't need roads.
We need where we're going. We need roads, and so I don't know if Hydro Homie who worked on Rivers is working on roads. I know that there are some roads attached to some of these Hathor locations, but we're gonna need some roads if you're talking about going transporting in this type of vehicle cargo from one location to another. Because you try to do that on Hurston, and you're gonna be driving around obstacles all day and night. We have done this work of trying to drive in on Hurston, and you know, it can be very problematic. So I'm looking forward to not only this vehicle and transportation, but I see it earlier on as not between locations, but really within locations, right? You know, people will use various things within hangars because the hangars are too long. Well, when you get a location that's kind of big like that, you're going to need one of these within that location as well. So,
Fastcart.
What are your thoughts?
Question. I got a question for Fastcart. This came out.
Got a question too. Go ahead.
This came out tied into the presentation for base building. Is this a predecessor to that, or was this just an emotional grab? Because the sister to this is the ship that does the building. So,
right.
What do you think about that?
I was wondering about that too myself, Griff, but I think this is just an emotional grab, unfortunately, at the moment. My question is, this one has 4 SCUs. Is there a vehicle that had more than 4 SCUs? Or like
not
4
a vehicle.
SCUs for a vehicle is the max?
Not a vehicle. The thing that people had been asking for quite a while after the Mule came out was something that was more like a flatbed that they could use. This is probably the closest thing to that, with it being able to hold 4 boxes in the back, but that's been it, vehicle wise.
Yeah, vehicle wise. Yeah,
that's 4-wheel vehicle wise. Yeah.
People saw me looking at the ceiling or whatnot. I'm trying to remember if there's a vehicle that carries more than 4 SCU. For me, I might get this in game, but I didn't pick one up during the sale. So it seems handy. We'll probably use it, like you said, for Soul Station. But yeah, I didn't pick one up.
I think that, Sirius, you hit on something earlier when you talked about why would we use this? Because right now, people basically can fly wherever they're going to go and deliver stuff via air. And the need for these vehicles, taking them with you or having them someplace isn't always apparent. But we know that the distribution centers, for example, that we have now are the medium distribution centers. We haven't seen the large scale ones yet. It'll be interesting if there become reasons why flying is not possible, or that flying might be dangerous. In other words, maybe it's better to deliver your stuff to a hangar at a distribution center, and then from there, drive your stuff where it needs to be delivered. That parking your ship outside thing may be a dangerous or even restricted thing that happens in game that forces players to either have NPC vehicles that are already there. In fact, the distribution center, sometimes there are URSAs and things already there that are just placed there, or the fact that you have to bring your own if you need to move things around. So I'm kind of looking for when the game starts to shift into a place where these things become mandatory, you know, like literally, if you don't bring this, you can't do what you got to do, you know. That might be hard on some people. Some people may, because we've been so used to just being able to fly your ship and you're only a few hundred meters away from where you have to park it. But I'm looking for the point where these things start to have real meaning in the game. I think they're great. but I would love to see them become much more real in the game. You know.
And
Mhm.
you know, that's a system tweak away, right?
Mhm.
If you tweak permissions and clearances for landing,
Mhm.
if you tweak how turrets operate, then you've created the conditions where it's important to have clearance, and you're not going to get clearance just to do those little things. And now you've got a reason for these other vehicles that are in the game, right there.
Yeah.
So.
At Hurston, for example, Lorville, when you go outside of the city, there are a lot of areas out there where there are landing bays and hangars that are way outside the city. But if that's where you're allocated to land, if you're told Tower says this is where you have to land, instead of hanging in the civilian hangar, but when you're doing commercial work, you're not landing there anymore. Maybe you've got to land at those outer areas. And now if you want to move something around, you've got an underground or a system there that says you have to have vehicles like this to move things, or even larger ones later on. It'll just be interesting to see if they create a system like that, because I worked at O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Your cargo planes didn't land where your commercial planes landed, right? Your passenger planes were in one area, commercial stuff was in another. And we kind of see that with the way the space stations are structured, where there are actual cargo deck areas that ultimately should be separated from where civilians are. Were you going to say, fastcart?
And also, this is enclosed, so hopefully it'll have better air inside than outside at Lorville. So there's that too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I think my hope is that folks that have done that work, like you and Ops Chief and others, are being consulted when they think about the logistics, supply, ingress and egress of these bases. Because I know it's been years now that you've looked at how ships come into Area 18, and you're like, look at all this construction and these structures in the way. You would never have that in the way of an incoming craft.
Yeah, well,
right?
it's another cool factor thing. It looks cool to see cranes like sitting right outside your hangar, right? It's like, no, you would never have a crane outside of an approach to a hangar, but that's just the way it looks good, right? So, the rule of cool may take over the common sense side of it, but we'll see what happens. All righty, I think this one's on me. The Star Lancer Max is a large freighter developed by Musashi Industrial Starflight Concern, MISC. It is designed specifically for deep space operations and features a large cargo hold. This vessel enables freelance operators and commercial enterprises to explore further into the verse, pushing beyond established boundaries to support the expansion of humanity's frontiers. Boy, that sounds like a marketing piece if I ever heard one. This ship was very interesting. I like MISC, but I'm not a big MISC person, but I like MISC. I own some MISC ships. When this one came out, when I look at that picture that you see on the screen right now, I thought it looked so cool. Then when I saw it in person, I thought it looked like a big fat baby. I did not like it. It took
a baby? What kind of baby you looking at?
Oh, dude, it was a big baby. I mean, it was just big. Remember how people felt about the Carrack when it came out? Remember that?
Yeah,
it went from the slim to the chunky, the MSR, same thing, right? And so
but the difference there is that you had concept renderings that made it look thinner, and then it got bigger.
But that shot right there doesn't look as big as when you see it to me from the side, right?
Yeah, okay.
But let me say this. As soon as I got a chance, and I didn't go on it for a good while, it was out for a few weeks, but I think I was with Colossal, and he gave me a tour, and I walked through, and he's a big MISC person, but once I walked through the ship, I really, really liked it. Then all of a sudden, when I looked at it, I thought it looked cool. I actually liked it.
Yeah.
So I do like the fact that this ship is designed to be much more long range, which I like a lot. The cargo capacity in it is an interesting number at, I think, 220 or 224, something like that. It's a little bit higher than the Taurus, but it's smaller than some of the other ships. Like if you get to the C2, obviously way shorter than the C2 or the Caterpillar. But it's dedicated toward cargo, which I thought was interesting. And of course, this was also pushed, and I'll throw this to both of you guys, whoever wants to answer this. When this came out, it was CIG once again, like they did with the CSV, tying it in with the CSM thing. They mixed those two with building. They did the same thing with this. They tied this in with the build, right? Even though the tack was there, but the tack ain't got nothing to do with this. This and the build were the ones that were put together. And again, was that kind of the spark for people who were interested in doing base building or any type of construction later, that they didn't think about this just from the status of cargo, but they're like, man, this would be the great ship to go along with my, my Star Lancer build when it comes out. What do you guys think?
I think there's the Doctor
5
the
gifts. The Doctor,
Yes,
thank you. Thank you so much for 5 gift subs. Thank you. We appreciate that. Okay.
The Doctor with the subs.
The Doctor. All right. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think a lot about this ship in that I went on the similar journey that you did, Griff. I saw it. I was very intrigued. Then I saw it live, and for some reason, it felt more squat than svelte.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got in it and started to use it, and it's become one of my favorite non-RSI ships, right? To the point where I wrote a song about the ships, Star Lancer, Star Dancer.
Oh, let's hear it.
And I ain't singing it. Wrote a song about it. Want to hear it? Here it goes.
There you go. There you go. Thank you. You knew where I was going.
But I really like this ship, and again, around this theme of functionality, I feel like this chassis with the max tack build layout is going to be able to do a lot of different things, right? But just the way that it feels, feels, first of all, it feels like a very smart evolution of MISC, right? Almost to the point where they've got to go back now and look at those freelancers. Those freelancers look like they're from a different company, almost. And secondly, the flow and the layout feels really usable over the long term. Like you could be out in this for a while, right? And it's something that they were getting at with the Drake Corsair that I think they've really maximized with the Star Lancer Max, right? It is a very, very complete ship, and I really am impressed by that. Now when it comes to the max build mix, I do think that even if the tack is coming sooner, the build was talked about precisely for what you said, because they were building energy around base building. Base building was the thematic of last year. So, but I think the build will come last. I think the build was going to come last even before they made this commitment to slowing down on features and going hard on stability. I thought the build was coming last.
Yeah. I have to laugh at Bando. Bando said, "I still hate it. It's ugly as sin." He's not too crazy about it. But of course, the representative from Miss Colossals out there telling him to calm down. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, fastcart. Is this a ship you're interested in, or not really, or?
I'm not gonna lie. When the the Star Lancer Max came out, I was intrigued. It was almost an impulse buy.
Okay.
It's Warbound 225 and standalone for 250, so it's right around the Andromeda price range and the MSR, the Mercury price range. But I decided to hold off on it. But even though I do love the commercial is, again, one of my screensavers. So I do love the commercial when it came out. The thing with this one is, for me, I took a step back and said, okay, I already have the railing. Is this, between this and the railing, which one do I want? Because I already had something in that price range. So I stuck with the railing. So I decided to pass on this. Having said that, when the build come out, I might get that, because I'm not about the Star Lancer Max and build dynamic. I probably get one or the other, and I probably will get the build. It depends on what the stack for the build when they come out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was tempted, boy. I was tempted, because I'm a mixed fan too.
Yeah. Okay.
Hot space opinion. The railing will function like the Sulian, which means it'll be cool one time, and then it'll be cool. It'll be cool to show people one time, and then you'll want the functionality as a human being of the Star Lancer. That's what I
disagree, because the build. I'm sorry, the railing I don't know when the last time you looked at the concept and stuff like that. The interior is really cool. So I think it'll be more than one time, at least for me. It depends on who you are. So yeah, I do like the aesthetics of the trailer. As far as the concept goes. Who knows how close it'll be when it actually comes out.
Yeah. They should have made the railing take off the railing take off like the Sayulan. Then it really freaked people out.
No, I don't want to be crashing my ship all over the place.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting ship that Misk has made. I definitely think that the marketing behind this was good. Not good for us, but good for CIG by tying it in with the tack and the build. But particularly the build, because the build gave room for people who may not have wanted to spend the type of money for a Pioneer, that they know that the build's going to run less. And so they can see themselves probably for the price of what they would pay for a Pioneer, getting these two ships in the same price range and be in a really good space. Ooh. Wow, Colossal, thank you so much for the community subs. 5 community subs. Thank you. We appreciate that. We really do. Okay, let's move. Yeah, that's what it is. As soon as we pumped up Misk, we got a subscription. That's what we got to do, right?
Yeah,
we got to talk about Misk more often is what we got to do.
Yeah.
All right, FC, this one's on you.
The Polaris is a Corvette class. Don't kill Admiral Kusanagi. Capital ship developed by Roberts Space Industries (RSI) for the United Empire of Earth Navy (UEN), designed for use as both a naval patrol ship and to serve as the flagship of civilian military operations. The Polaris has the capacity to perform search and rescue operations, strike missions, and general security patrol. While intended for a combat situation, the Polaris can also operate as a command center while providing refuel and repair capabilities from its single small fighter bay. Its features are torpedo bays, missiles, guns, lots of guns, hangar bay, cargo bays, self-sustainable, and medical bay and brig. And it was war bond for $850 US. These are all US dollars. And standalone now for $975. So that's a huge jump in increase.
That's not the huge jump in increase. The huge jump in increase is what it went from concept. That's a real big jump. Do you remember what that price was?
$750?
It was like either 6 or 7, 650 or 7, 675, 725. It was somewhere in that range. Yeah, but it increased upon
here
release.
It is, right here, $750.
Yeah.
No, $625. War by $625.
There you go. See, yeah. So that's where your increase was there. It's every once in a while we have an increase that's fairly dramatic. We've had them before where they're $50, $100. I think other than this one, I think the 890 was probably the biggest jump, going from $600 to $850.
BMM.
But yeah, the
BMM
was incremental. BMM was incremental. I'm talking about one jump where it jumped dramatically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unlike other assets in the verse.
Oh boy, here it comes.
RSI assets increase in quality, right? Over time, the feeling you get of quality assurance style service, right, from an RSI product just raises the value. It's like having a 70 Chevelle SS 454 just in the garage, right? Just looking at it and the price is going up just from the way it looks. Right? It's beautiful.
I'm going to embody Togi right now and say, yeah, but they couldn't put no paint on the walls in that thing either. Okay, that's what I'm going to say for that price money. Okay, it is a unique ship, and I think most of you all know, if you've been around for any length of time, that Polaris has gone through several reworks in design, in things such as the hangar growth, the interior design of the ship, and now after we've had ships like the Idris come out, where they've had these large scale ships and worked out how to have multiple decks and all that. This was one of the first byproducts of that work, was to see the Polaris. And I remember when we saw it at at IAE the first year, all we had was the exterior, and we were very impressed by what we saw there. But I know when I walk through this ship, I don't own one. I'm not interested in owning one, but I definitely can appreciate it. as a different type of ship for people who are into this type of thing for military operations. Some people, I think my biggest frustration about ships like this coming into the game, don't get me wrong, I'm happy that people have their ship. They've paid for it, they've waited for it, they've got it in their hands, but we're not seeing them being utilized to their fullest potential. You know, these ships right now, like last night, Braba, Sirius, and I were out, and we were just doing the how what's it called? What's the place called again? The
Hathor.
The Hathor. We were down on the ground, and there's somebody flying around with a Polaris. No, and it's like, would you really be bringing that big military ship in here to just fight some little fighters? And then, and on top of that, the guy crashed it, right? Didn't he? Serious? He crashed it into the mountain or something like that.
Well, you knew it was somebody that was by themselves, right? They were flying by themselves. There wasn't like, it wasn't like to secure. It wasn't for air superiority. Although, the point defense cannons allowed that person to take the Polaris up to the station and function that way, right? But I get your point. I take your point. Over the long term, you want to see fewer Polarises and more of them fully crewed for purpose. That's part of the reason. That's part of the reason why I am donating the PCS Epidemac to Soul Station. Soul Station now has a Polaris in the Epidemac, and it is available to the group.
Oh my goodness!
For a purpose.
Oh my goodness!
Let me know.
We gotta get a contract written up for that then. So we'll, we have to make sure.
I said it here in public.
Yeah, but we got to take care of it and stuff. You know, we got to make sure that the thing operates well.
No doubt.
You know.
Yeah, I don't want to roll up and there's no missiles. That's right.
No fuel.
If you tell me to clip it right now, I'll clip it right now just for.
I know. I know.
So for me, I've forgotten about it because it's not the type of gameplay or ship that I'm interested in. But this was announced in October of 2016, so it came out a full 8 years later. I don't know if another ship that has taken that long from concept to release in recent, at least in my memory.
Idris.
So, this was the ship. This was the ship. That was the reason why I went Praetorian to support this project.
Wow.
So I have been engaged with the project at that level since then because of this ship. And for it to finally come out, and we have had a history of some concepts are more adhered to than others. I felt this was a fulfillment of the concept art and even a little bit better. So just very, very pleased with.
How was it better than the concept art, real quickly, if you can share?
Well, the concept art, it retained all the shape of the concept art, but in real life you got the detail. And it wasn't until they had put it into, I can't remember if it was IAE or Invictus, but they put it into the conference room show floor. Before we could fly it, we got to look at it and walk around and stand next to the landing gear and all that other stuff. And you were able to see the detail that I felt it just made even the concept art even more fully realized. Right. So
DK Wildcat, thank you. 36-month subscribers, 3 solid years. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for your 36 years subscriber. 36. Wow, thank you. Really appreciate
Griff,
that.
we could just stay here and talk about the Polaris for the rest of the night.
I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. Listen, I'm a softie, right? Some of these ships, obviously I may complain about the fact that functionality is not there or their purpose isn't into the game yet. And it's very frustrating for me, even when it's a ship that I don't own or a gameplay that I don't own. But I have to say this. I remember, Sirius, you were the first person that I got to do a walkthrough on this ship, and I met you out in space. And I forget what ship I was flying. I think I was flying the alien bug ship, the Therapin, the Tavaran one. I can't think of what it's called. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you were flying a Talon.
I was flying a Talon.
Yeah.
And you were out in space, and I came out and landed in the hangar, and you showed me around. And I have to say, I remember it was dark. We were on the dark side of a planet, and I just could see the illumination of your ship from a distance. And it's amazing to see how beautiful these ships are in the game still to this day. After being in here over a decade, I still get amazed when I see that, even though I get frustrated with the fact that things don't work. But it is amazing to see what the ship turned out to be, because as you're right, from the concept drawings, it looked good in the concept drawings. That detail wasn't there until you actually get up on this thing and you see it and you're like, wow, this thing is pretty amazing. Torpedo room is, there's a lot of stuff about this thing that's just really, the engineering room in this thing is also amazing to me.
Yeah.
It's a really cool ship.
How do you feel about the price increase to 975? You think that's worth it, or
listen, I'm a backer. Nobody likes that.
Yeah, I was going to say, the funny thing is, when you have ships that go back this far, like you said, fastcart, 8 years back, and right. 650 back then, that was a lot of money to spend. I think before that, the only thing that beat that price, other than the A2, was around $700 when it came out. And then there was the whole series, the whole E, but even then the whole E was like $550 or something when it first came out, if I'm not mistaken, right? Right. But no. But I'm talking about originating dollar amounts. This thing came out, it was expensive. And there was a lot of controversy between this and the Perseus when it came out, because the prices were so close to each other. Some people felt that the Perseus was overpriced because it was like, $100 you could go for Polaris. But the potential of this ship, the growth, and it's seeing it, and CIG has always said that concept price and final price were going to be two different things. So that jump from $650 to $800, a $250 jump, there's a part of me that's not surprised, because this steps right below that line of $1,000 when you start hitting things like the Idris class ships of everything else. So I thought it was going to be more, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to hit 9, but
some people are disappointed that it's not $1,000, because that means it'll be automatic LTI whenever it's on sale. But it's not 75, so it's not LTI.
Yeah, and I can understand people wanting that.
The best thing about it is you can put 2 Scorpii in the hangar.
Yeah.
Facing the opposite ways. They sit nice. They're not struggling.
They're not stacked on each other. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I get to play out my Star Wars fantasies. with this ship. And that.
Well, back in the day,
I'm very
background music.
But back in the day, I don't remember what the original.
John Williams.
I don't remember what the original ship was, but back in the day, I remember when it was just a single saber could be in here.
Yeah, that was the concept art, was a saber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, so there's been growth in development of the ship that for the people who paid $650, I think they got their money's worth easily. And for those people who really, really want it, they're willing to pay that extra money or do the CCU game to get it at the best price they can. I think it's interesting ship for military. Okay, let's move forward here. Watch our time. Who's this one on? Is this on me?
This is on me.
No, I just
it's on you. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll cover the tracker and the ghost.
You got the ghost too? Okay, sure.
Yeah. So the F7CR Hornet Tracker Mark II, say that fast 3 times, represents a specialized variant of the F7C Hornet Mark II produced by Anvil Aerospace. The Hornet Tracker Mark II is engineered to serve as a formidable reconnaissance platform, equipped with sophisticated long-range radar systems that facilitate covert operations. As a highly capable predator, it boasts advanced scanning technologies that enhance its surveillance capabilities. And then we have the F7C-S Hornet Ghost Mark II, and that's a stealth fighter variant of the F7C Hornet Mark II developed by Anvil Aerospace. This spacecraft is designed with dual purposes: reconnaissance and ambush. It operates beneath radar detection using a signature-reducing module that enhances its capabilities for stealth missions, whether in combat or reconnaissance scenarios. So the Tracker and the Ghost, the Mark II variants of each of those.
I ask you guys a question about both of these ships. In the early days, when I say early, I'm talking 8-9 years ago, I knew a lot of people who bought a lot of these Hornets because a lot of people believed that those ships were going to be coming fairly soon. So whatever they were interested in, if they were interested into the Tracker or the Ghost, all we had was the Hornet and the Super Hornet, but they figured, we've got these two, these other ones will probably become soon. But over time, the mechanics for those ships have not come into the game. And so I'm curious as to your experience, if you own either of these ships, or did you own them and at some point you melted them because the mechanic wasn't in? Do you think people even bought these ships because those mechanics still, even though this is a Mark II, those mechanics still are not in the game as far as I know of, unless somebody can tell me that maybe the sensors do work something on the tracker. But I know things like stealth and things aren't necessarily, built in like at the level that they want them to be. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that there were people who maybe melted their Mark 1s for Mark 2s? Do you think there are people who got Mark 2s? I don't know, because I don't know what the sales were like on these ships at all.
I was listening to Captain Table last week. They said the stealth gameplay is pretty much in, so the Ghost should work pretty much well. But the tracking is not in there. Being able to find stealth ship is hard. So the gameplay for the tracker is not in. The gameplay for Ghost is mostly in, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
Yeah, I had melted and had both a Ghost Mark 1 at one point and an Eclipse, because stealth used to be somewhat in the game at one point. And then when it went out of the game, I melted both of those because their purpose, their reason for being was not current, and there was no line of sight as to when it was going to be current. And your name in the chat says the Ghost Mark 1 was so much fun. Yeah, they were fun because you could get right up on folks and right behind them and well positioned with the Ghost. And to fastcart's point, some of that stealth, a good portion of stealth is in terms of the signature that ships are emitting,
right?
And managing that.
But is
stealth ships and stealth component.
Is stealth at the point that they're talking about, though? I know we have stealth in the game. I know people go in and modify things and bring their signatures down. But the impression is that ships like this have an advantage, just like the Terrapin. There's something, they have advanced something. And I'm saying those features, as far as I know of, have not been implemented yet, or have they? I don't fly them, so I don't know.
In my understanding, in my experience, they function as strictly around distance to awareness.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So right now, if you have a Ghost or a ship with some stealth components, what you're doing is managing the distance by which you can be detected.
Gotcha.
Right. And you can get as close as 2 kilometers from folks and not be detected with some of these ships.
But my question is, does the Ghost do it better? That's basically what I'm asking. I know we can do stealth.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
And maybe somebody in the audience, maybe you guys know somebody out there's got these ships. I know fastcart, like you said, we know that advanced scanning isn't there yet, even though we've seen hints to what they want to do. Right. I'm just kind of curious. And because my question is, if it does work, I can understand people wanting to go out and spend the money or get them in game. But if it doesn't work, I'm curious as to what the response has been to these ships, since they're quote unquote Mark II, but they don't completely do what they're supposed to be doing. But maybe they do.
Slightly better.
Slightly better. Okay. Captain Jones says slightly better. Okay. Very cool.
But who knows? Some people thought slightly better may be worth buying a ship, and some people may not. So it depends on the person, I guess.
Okay. Zava says, according to the Urkel, the Ghost 2 gives 28% modifiers to EM, CS, and IR. Okay. All right. Is that what it does, or is that what it's supposed to do? I'm assuming that's what it does. I'm going to assume, Zava, that's what it does, because they're not just, if they've got numbers, it probably is. Yeah, but if he's got percentage numbers like that, then it probably is what it does, has inherent EM and IR signature reduction. Okay, it does. He says does. Okay, thank you. All right, that's good to know. Then that makes it more viable for people to be interested in it. I don't know.
What it tells you, though, is that tracker still isn't in game, though.
It isn't. That was not in yet?
No, the Ghost does this.
Okay.
But the tracker.
Is okay.
Is not, to fastcart's point, that gameplay is not in. And when you think about coming together as a group of players, no one's going to pull out the tracker, because the tracker's functionality is to help you detect some of these stealth chips. Right. And to subvert that's the tit for tat type of gameplay. But if it doesn't work, then you're only getting the stealth side.
Yeah.
So.
I'm hoping that we see ships like this and ships like the Terrapin when it comes to reconnaissance, where, like, for example, when we were at Hathor last night, it'd be so cool if those ships had the scanning ability to be able to tell you like who's down in the ground. You know what I mean? Like what type of ships? I don't even know names. But just if there's a Polaris there, right? You know, maybe they could tell you 50K out or 100K out, you know, versus picking it up at 10K or 8K or 6K or whatever. It'd be really interesting to see if they implement that level of scanning so that you can be more prepared when you're going into someplace, which makes these ships valuable in those cases. So you're not caught off guard, or they can just do a nice sweep of letting you know what's in an area. Like last night, we just wanted to know if there was any ships approaching, right? And we had to do it visually. Except for Zombie Pig was up there getting shot at, and he told us what was in the air. But you know, it would be nice that implementation was in the game. I would really, really love it. Okay.
Yeah, and with these ships, that can happen two ways, right? It can be the tracker can give you the information, or Zombie Pig could have been in a stealth ship and using visuals to tell us, right?
Yeah.
But instead, he was in a regular ship and getting shot at, right? That's got to be rough. True. Thank you. Get out of there.
That's very true. Very true. All right. The Terrapin Medic. This is a medical support vessel designed by Anvil Aerospace, featuring a Tier 2 medical bed. This ship is adept in securely extracting injured persons from hazardous situations, thanks to its durable armor and shielding systems. Functioning as both a compact frontline trauma center and a resilient search and rescue craft, the Terrapin Medic and its crew are dedicated to preserving lives and ensuring operational continuity in the most challenging environments and circumstances. Here we must give a shout out to our good friend Admiral Kusanagi, who has been preaching the message of Chris Roberts, or to Chris Roberts, that the medical Terrapin, we need it. It should be coming. It's in the, I've seen indications and pictures and lore, and people were just not hearing him. And he continued to encourage us and tell us that this thing was coming. And lo and behold, it finally showed up. And this ship also brought a bit of a quandary to folk. Seems like every time CIG introduces a medical ship or medical something, it stirs the pot. We went from the Cuddy Red into the Anvil Pisces rescue. And then we had the little Ursa come out, the Nursa. And then this one came out. And it seems like anytime something like that comes out, there's either a melting or a screaming. One of the two.
Or both.
Or both. I own a Red. And I own a Pisces 8. And I gave consideration to whether I wanted this ship. And I opted not to get it. It had way more to do with, for me, stealthiness, mobility, and getting in and out fast. Not that the Terrapin's a bad ship. But the armor classing for Terrapins, I don't think it's completely in yet. And so counting on that isn't completely there for me. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I also didn't want to pay another $100 and something bucks. So I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on this ship? I mean, I think it's great. I have nothing against it, but what are your thoughts about the medical Terrapin? Robert was in one last night. Thank God he brought it with us, because it was a good thing for us to have.
We used it several times. Yeah. You know, for me, I like the Terrapin. And then every time I get in a Terrapin, a regular Terrapin or a medical Terrapin, I always want it to do more, right?
Yeah.
Than what it does. Somebody said it in the chat, is like, this is the type of ship that you'd want a little bed on the side to be able to log out in, right?
Yeah.
But I can't, when I really drill down though, I can't really complain about the Terrapin. I think for its size, it does just fine. Plague Dealer says the Apollo just seems to make more sense. That's what I own. I own the Apollo Medevac because I'm into the rule of cool right now.
Yeah.
Because nothing's been certified, and the Medevac sends down that bay to pick people up in, and it comes back up. And to your point, Griff, the loaner for that is the Cuddy Red, and that seems just fine for me for this type of work.
Yeah.
But I can't, when all is said and done and we start getting into 1.0 and what the gameplay is actually going to be like, the Apollo Medevac may be entirely impractical. And it may be ships like this, the Terrapin, which has a little bit of toughness, but I think should be increased in terms of its toughness. It should be a tough little turtle.
Yeah.
Might end up being the one to go with. You know?
Yeah. For me, footprint is an issue with this for me. That's why I think I stuck with the Pisces. I'm just really into the fact of being able, when I'm by myself, the smaller footprint, and I mean footprint in the sense of not only just landing, but the footprint also in the sense of visibility and being spotted and getting in and out fast is a big deal for me right now. But a ship like the Apollo is great, but it's a multi-crew ship. I'm not going to solo it. I doubt very seriously if I was solo it. And secondly, it is a larger ship. Footprint might be a factor for a ship like that. Defending it may be a factor for it. So I think all of these ships have their appropriate means. I'm not putting any one over another one. I think this ship is a great ship. I think the Apollo is a great ship. I think the Pisces 8 is great. I think they're just going to have their appropriate roles that people are going to want to do with them. Fastcart, have you been on this ship, taking a look at it since they did the design on it and stuff?
I have not been on this ship. It is not my game style, and I've been saying that a lot tonight. So
if you die, it will be. If you die, it will be.
Right. No, but I say that a lot tonight. It's not my game style, but I do have 23 ships. It's just not the ship that we're featuring tonight are on the ships that are in my fleet. But I do have quite a few ships.
We were super thankful for it. We were super thankful for it last night.
I got to stop him for a second. So you're telling me that even though IAE comes, you don't go wandering, go just to look at the ship, just to see what it looks like?
I'll look at them.
That's what I asked you. No, I didn't ask you, did you buy it? I asked you, had you seen it? What did you think of it? I didn't ask you, did you buy it?
Well, I do like the look of it. The red skin, and I was surprised when it came out. It's the same price as the normal Terrapin. A lot of people, people were surprised. It's 200 Woman and 220 stand on.
Yeah. So
that surprised a lot of people. And I don't know how popular it was. I don't know how many people bought it. But that took people by surprise. So maybe that bought the sales up. But yeah, for me, I didn't get one, but I do like the look of it.
Okay. It'll be interesting too to see whether or not we choose what we choose based upon the final mechanics in the game, such as destruction or damage, cost factors, risk factors. This may be the ship to choose when you're going into that war zone. You compromise the footprint for the protection. Then again, if it's the Apollo and you need to have the versatility of multiple types of beds to get people up faster, you may choose to take that instead, So it'll be interesting to see how all this pans out when it's all said and done. But it's hard to say when we don't have everything, in the game yet. Okay, we only got a couple more to go, gang. This one here is on Fastcart, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Fastcart. You could take these two, and I'll take the next two.
Okay, so the the Guardian, is a small manufactured ship by Mirai, following the sector of the stock market with the high-speed Fury. Mirai spends its ambition by entering the heavyweight base combat arena. The Guardian exemplifies Mirai's commitment to performance-driven ship design, amplifying its philosophy to create a formidable brawler. This vessel is engineered to confront a wide array of threats, regardless of their scale or intensity. It features weapons, habitation, storage, and component. And this one was Warbond at 230 and standalone at 250. Now, the other one, the Guardian Key, or the Fat Fury Key, is an interdictor variant of the Guardian, manufactured by Mirai. The Guardian exemplifies, the same thing. The key enhances this effectiveness by incorporating a quantum dampener, which mitigates the advantage of faster vessels, thereby leveling the playing field against a more agile opponent. This feature equips the Guardian to be well prepared for a diverse range of missions. This features a quantum dampener, weapons, habitation, storage, and components. So that's the quantum dampener. And this one, and the key was Warbond at 240 and standalone at 260.
Yeah. Okay. I resisted on this one. I love the design of it. I think it's even though the Fury design is okay, this one grabs me more than the Furies do. And after going on it and walking around, taking a look at it, it was very cool. I think I've flown it one time and I said, I can't fly it anymore because otherwise I'm going to spend money. So I didn't do any more flying. And because the fighters, I'm more of a person who's into the bombing thing. And so I only have one or two fighters and I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. But I know, Sirius, you were flying this last night when we went down for Hathor. And I think you've been flying this as a fighter recently, haven't you? As one of your fighters?
Yeah, I like the Guardian QI. I like it, or the Guardian Key, as fastcart says. I like the. I think part of why I like it is the look and feel. Yes, this is evocative of the TIE fighter in our universe. But I also like it because it has the latest RSI functionality around Gold Standard Plus, right? So, when you walk up to the ship, you've got storage on one side, you got weapon racks on the other, you've got multiple compartments, you've got a bed to log out in. It is, from a solo fighter standpoint, it's got fairly decent fuel. It is enjoyable to be in. Now, one of the things we discovered last night is some of that Gold Standard includes it's lit up like a Christmas tree at night. And that's actually not good when you try to be at the Hathor location. Right. And we got to figure out how to turn off all them lights. But
are you talking about EM or like
the running lights? No, all the running lights on.
Okay.
Yeah. If you shut down, shut it down, that's one thing. But if you leave your power on for your shields, then and it's not the first ship we've said that about. There are a lot of ships that we need to kill running lights on, because they stand out. Right. In the dark. Right. Yeah. Let me.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Sirius. When this was in concept, a lot of people thought this was going to be a 2-person ship. Am I remembering that correctly? Because of the size of it. I remember.
Yeah, people thought they were going to sit one behind the other.
Yeah, something.
And they thought that there was another seat back there, but instead they put
a living area, right? Which we didn't expect.
Living areas back there, right? Which we did not expect. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I do like the design of it. It like you said, it is evocative to TIE fighter or like a TIE bomber, one of those two. So, but I do like the look of it. I didn't get one, not my game style, obviously. Like I said, I do have the F8 and the Super Hornet 2. But yeah, I passed on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a unique ship. Yeah, anything, I'm such a sucker for anything that moves. You know what I mean? Like when you turn it on and the wings do something, or something folds, or something unfolds.
Yeah,
I'm such a sucker for that. But that also makes us have to wait longer for ships. Yeah, but I do have a Raylan. But
oh, you do? Okay.
He's like, don't worry about it. Bro.
Yeah, I got that. You don't have to worry about that one. I got that one for sure. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah. By the way, so you guys would know, technically, I was supposed to be reading the next one, but there's a certain person on our panel who was going to steal that and not let me read it. So I do want to ask a question. And we didn't mention this earlier. By the way, we went through these ships based on the order of how they were released starting in March of last year. And the last one was in December, which was the Guardian. But Sirius, I did all the searching I could. I even went to chat and Copilot. I could not find when the Zeus was released. It was announced in October of 2023, but I could not find, and you can Google this all you want, it did not pop up for me. If anybody remembers, and maybe when did this actually get released? Because I don't remember at all. Do you remember? Was it out during Invictus?
Not soon enough.
Was it out during Invictus, or was it after Invictus of last year?
You know, I don't remember. I think, CitizenCon?
Was it CitCon?
Yeah.
I can look it up in my mail, maybe.
I guess the only thing I didn't do was go in my mail and look it up. But I mean, I tried to find all over the place, and I could not. All I found was October's concept date release, but I could not remember when this dropped. And it felt like it was before CitizenCon, because you got your jacket, and I felt like it was before that. But maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just that you were anticipating it, and it dropped during CitizenCon. But it felt like it was longer than that. Okay, but it looks like everybody's saying CitizenCon. So, okay.
Yeah, CitizenCon.
In October then. Okay, so it was dropped in October. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it dropped October 17th, I think.
Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, it's on you, Sirius. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you didn't look hard enough, Griffin.
I'm telling you, I looked everywhere, man. I could not find it. I couldn't find a date. Honestly, I looked like crazy this afternoon. But
Everybody just sit back, relax. We're gonna now lean in to the newest latest from Robert Space Industries, the Zeus Mark II. We're going to talk about the Zeus Mark II ES first. Robert Space Industries has developed the Zeus Mark II ES, a multi-crew exploratory spacecraft specifically engineered for the purpose of exploration. This vessel features a cutting-edge radar system that facilitates the efficient identification of new discoveries. Furthermore, the ES is enhanced with sophisticated weaponry and protective shielding, ensuring the secure return of both the crew and the discoveries acquired throughout the mission. Right. So what they're telling you is just the purchase of a Mark II ES is going to get you back home. Right. Right. So just remember that.
Did you all see he put on his commercial voice when he read that on top
I know,
of it? You know,
I
that's
know.
the kicker, you know? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
It's like he tried out for a job at CID now. What the heck?
I said Jade Star Watcher, a song that I wrote about Michelle Saleno and the 999 testing the Zeus and everything else. This is how I feel about it. The Zeus Mark II CL, manufactured by Robert Space Industries, is a cargo ship engineered for multi-crew missions. Its main objective is to enhance commercial activities by providing an expanded cargo capacity. Additionally, it features a tractor beam, which enhances its capability for effectively handling large volumes of freight. And so there are 3 variants of the Zeus Mark II, the ES, which we've talked about, the CL, and the MR, which functions as a bounty hunting variant that hasn't come out yet. But the ES and the CL are in universe. And, you know, the Zeus is my favorite ship. The truth is that it is a compromised experience, right? In that you're not putting the Ursa medevac on there, right? So there's none of that cheat code like you can with a Freelancer Max. And even when you talk about cargo capacity being expanded to 128 SCU, which is compelling relative to, say, the Crusader series of ships that of similar size, which are almost half the cargo. That large volume of freight isn't always the easiest to configure and use, right? It has to be a certain configuration of SCU boxes to be able to maximize in there. So there are some things that make it peculiar and not quite the perfect all-arounder in every area, but the look, the feel, the sound, the avionics, the ingress and egress. Right, you've got the ramp, you've got the ladder, you've got the airlock, the personal space. All of it on both variants for me is really, really enjoyable. And I had my eye on this ship before I had made the determination that the SeriousFun character in game that I was going to RP as an RSI exclusive, pretty much an RSI exclusive guy. And for it to come out the way that it's come out and do what it does, I think is probably the clearest realization we've had from concept to in game so far. Or if it is, it's tied with whatever else someone else might think of. This is doing exactly and precisely what they said it was going to do. I mean, I remember when they announced 128 SCU storage, and people were like, "You can't get that in there," and they did. Right, like that stuff is physicalized, right, and you can do it, right. And it's not as easy as people would like, right, but it can be done. I have done it. So
yeah, there was a. Go ahead, fastcart. No, you go ahead.
All right, I just want to say, SeriousFun, I don't know if you're getting commission for what you just said tonight for the last 5 minutes, but and your name said, "Where's my wallet?" I think you might have stole it a few more tonight. So congratulations on your commission if you're getting one.
And I put on my Barry White and go, "Yeah, baby."
Oh God, okay. I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna say anything. Go ahead.
No, I want to get your thoughts on the ship, FC.
Oh, yeah, I was tempted. I had like CCUs for the CL when the concept dropped.
Hmm.
Because I decided to wait until the ship was released to decide on whether or not I was going to get it or not.
Hmm.
Uh, I think the poet said the cargo area of the Zeus lineup was too annoying for him,
Hmm.
and I can understand where he's coming from. It holds a bit more than the Mercury, but it's not as nimble, or the cargo area is a bit troublesome to get around when it's fully loaded. So I decided to pass on the CL and keep the Mercury. A lot of people might have done the opposite. Some people decided to get rid of the Mercury and get the Zeus CL.
Hmm.
The ES wasn't in my game style, so I didn't think about that too much. But I had my eye on the CL for a long time.
Okay. Now this one's what, 120 SCU? Is that correct?
128.
128.
Yeah,
Okay.
128. Right.
I know that there was people loved the idea of this ship and were very much looking forward to it because it was where before the C1 was like a real popular ship. I think at 64, this was going to be doubling that number, and people were really hyped about this ship. But there were two problems with it, and it was all basically, unfortunately, around the purpose of the ship, which was cargo. You can, to your point, Sirius, you can get everything in there as if you know how to pack that ship. But it takes a little bit of finessing to do it. And I think that for players, they don't look at this ship as being like a C2, for example, where, you've got a ship where you're really going to have somebody like a load master who later on, when they start adding things like weight and balance and gravity, it might be important for someone to know, how to put things specifically in the ship. But this ship kind of has more of a feel of a 1 or 2 person kind of ship, even though it is a 3-seater. And I think the expectation was that they could load it up fairly quickly and easily without having to get to a point of mental gymnastics or logistics with how to put an exact size box to make everything fit. The second one was one I think that Togi highlighted to me, and it was the fact of the design of the door width, where like a vehicle cannot be placed inside of here, if I'm not mistaken. I think
you can place a Cyclone, you just can't place an Ursa.
You can't put an Ursa in there, right?
And that aggravated a lot of people like going mad.
It did. And so, the thing is, I try to find where's the balance between what we want to be able to do and why there may be restrictions that call for why we can't do something. And these are, unfortunately, they're unforeseen because some of these decisions might be based around once everything's in the game, some things might start to make sense. They still may be goofy later on. They still may not make sense when it's all said and done. But, is there a reason why there was a deliberate design? Or was it an oversight in the design that says that because they put curved arches at the door that go a certain way, it may look cool, but when it comes down to actual gameplay and physics, it actually inhibits it and there's no purpose for it. Now, I don't know. I'm just throwing these out as questions as to whether or not these may be factors that we will. And that's one of the reasons why it's important for the community to raise these issues, because maybe there is a reason that they do it. But when the community expresses those things, it may give CIG pause to go back and say, hey, here's something somebody posted that maybe we need to go back and look at. Then again, we may voice all of those things and they may say, no, we're not doing that because of, and we don't know what the because of is. So, if there's issues with ships like this, where you see everything there is just about perfect, but why did they do that? I think it's fair to ask those why questions, and hopefully we'll get an answer from them. And if it's an oversight, it gets corrected. I know that's tough, though, because once these ships are designed, it takes a long time to go in and change something, even as simple as whether you make something a 90-degree versus a 72-degree or whatever. But it's something that I think we as a community should mention in relation to that. I think these ships are great. I've got Connies, and because they came in packages, I'm kind of glued to those because I would almost say I would trade my Connies for these ships, but I'm also looking forward to updates of the Connies, and I enjoy the Connies. And so in the RSI line, I just see that this is a more, as you mentioned earlier, Sirius. It's an evolution of where CIG has gone, especially from the original Zeus from the early days to the Zeus Mark IIs. I think they're an interesting design. I thought they were a little different. I don't know. The other one was kind of space shuttle-ish, and I kind of like that curved look. When they first came out with this, I thought it was a little bit too hard-liney, but now that I've seen it more and more, I really do like the ship. It's also a bigger ship than it looks like from the outside. When you go inside of it, there's a lot of room and space inside of it, so I think it's a very nice ship. Flies very nicely. I have one on loan right now for something that, I own an MR, and the MR is not in the game, so I have an ES right now, and I'm trying not to get used to it. I try not to fly it too much because otherwise I might end up getting one. But I am looking forward.
Otherwise, you join the community. Maybe. That's right.
Yeah,
tell the truth.
But I am looking forward to the MR because I've been looking for that bounty hunter law enforcement ship, and I've held out for a long time. And that one I think leans more toward the direction that I would go. But yes, this is a very, very, very cool ship, and RSI did a great job. A lot of people like the design of the Zeus ships; they really do. So, okay, well, believe it or not, gang, that was 15 ships that we went through today.
That's a lot.
From last year, from 2024. We haven't touched on anything from this year, but there's quite a few ships there that CIG produced on last year, and still a lot of work to be done on them to get them where they need to be. But hopefully, you guys, if you haven't tried any of these ships, Invictus will be coming up next month, and so particularly the ships that are military based, you'll get a chance to try them out. As always, we encourage you, if you're going to buy ships, do it for the cause of supporting the development of the game. Some of us have just money that's just nothing else to do with it, and we just buy it because we like it. That's okay too. But also don't forget that many of these ships, if not most of them, can be purchased in-game with in-game cash, and you can enjoy them and try them out with folks. Always try stuff out too before you do it too. You can rent half of this stuff if you want to. I've known people to buy stuff and then they buy it and then they don't like it. Then they got to melt it and all this other stuff. Try this stuff, rent it in game. If you don't have any friends out there that can let you loan you one, and try them out. That way you'll know whether or not you want to spend real money or whether you just want to do game money. It always gives you something to work toward in the game, which is always great too. Other than that, that's it. Those were the new kids on the block. I'm going to give a couple of quick announcements. Do we have any questions, Fastcart? Or are we good tonight? Are we good on questions?
We're good.
We're good?
No questions.
Okay, cool. No questions. All right. Real quick plug. Those of you who've been around for a little bit, you know that we've been talking about this event coming up called Quantum Vegas 2955. It is being held in Las Vegas, Nevada on Saturday, July the 12th. And there are a group of us in the community who've been working hard to put this event together for several months. And it is coming together very nicely. We are really looking forward to this. If you are not going to CitizenCon, which none of us are, it is an opportunity for you to join with some folks in the community. They're going to be coming out to this event in Las Vegas. They're going to be people like Paul Shelley, who's going to be there as one of our moderators and doing a panel. Natronics, Nate Ellis, Natronics, who's done all of the great Huxley work. All the stuff from EE Studios is going to be there talking about how they make machinimas and going into that with detail. Sergeant Grimm is going to be doing a really great surprise. I think that people are really going to be blown away with, talking about how ships are made in Star Citizen. And then there are people from CIG that are special guests that are going to be there. Galactic is going to be there. We got sessions that are being done by Sean Tracy, sessions done by Tyler Whitkin. SeriousFun is also one of our moderators that's going to be there. We're also going to be doing something called the QVM Award, and that's going to be the Quantum Vegas Machinima Award. And that is going to be, we're going to be trying to stream that live, actually. We're going to try and stream that live for you guys to check it out. For those of you who can't come, just that part, the award ceremony. It is a full day. It goes from 8 in the morning till 6 p.m. It is going to be a really great event there. We're going to be doing community-led event with people coming from all over, and we've got some great responses so far. So just remember this, tickets are discounted right now up through April 30th. The ticket prices will go up next month. So if you want to go, if you're thinking about it, you need to get your tickets now. So check it out at quantumvegas.space, and then you can check it out. That's all I can tell you to do. Check it out. Check it out. Serious, you got anything you want to toss in there real quick, or Fastcart? They're going to be there. They're coming. They're going to be there.
I think that.
Go ahead.
I think that if you have an opportunity to come fellowship with us, you're going to have an incredible time. The work that was done to think about where quantum is happening at this Area 15 location ensures that you've got a space to hang out in all weekend if you want.
Yes.
Right. Or all day. So don't worry about the heat out in Vegas. You know, it can get hot out in Vegas. We're going to be in this place, and then there's this other place that's part of where we are that allows you to have an experience all day. So come check us out.
Yes, air conditioned. Bar Citizen
Yeah.
the day before on Friday. We're having a Bar Citizen also on that Friday night, which is free to attend. So if you're in the Vegas area, you guys can come to that and definitely enjoy that. Yeah, we know, Darth, it's hot outside, but we're going to be inside all day. So you'll be able to enjoy it. And check out Area
I
15.
plan on staying out in the heat as little as possible, going out of my hotel, getting to Uber, going to the venue, yeah, I'm not planning on being out in the heat too much.
Yeah, and DePoet, you're going to have to tell us the spot to go to for that, too, because I've heard about that, and I have never done that in Vegas. So we need to know where the spot is, okay? We'll go out there and check it out.
Does it get cool in the evening?
Yes.
Because it's desert,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, it cools off. Oh, it's
so
the
you're gonna need a
desert.
jacket too?
Well, it depends. It depends. That time of year. I've never been there in July. I've been there different months, but not July. But regardless, we're going to be there all. Trust me. If you come in the morning before it's hot, when registration's at 8, we're going to end at 6. But people are going to eat dinner probably there that night, and then we're going to be hanging out there probably till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to. You're never going to feel the heat while you're with us. At least you won't. You know, we're going to be out there for a long time. So it's going to be a great time. So go to the website again, quantumvegas.space. Check it out, even if you want to. If you cannot go, if you cannot attend because you have something else going on, there is a donation button. This is our first time doing this event. So if you would like to just donate to the event, that way someone else can get a ticket. We truly appreciate that. There's a way to donate there as well. We really would appreciate any financial support that we can get for this first time event. Very tough when it's the first time you're doing something. Folks don't know about it. So our biggest thing is awareness. But when people find out about it, they get really excited about it and said they want to come. So we're looking forward to seeing you guys. Papa Juggernaut, hopefully we'll look forward to seeing you. We're going to look forward to seeing you there. That'll be awesome. Bando, you too. Looking forward to seeing you there as well. Okay. That is it. Let's talk about what we've got coming up next week. Next week's show. This is going to be an interesting conversation. Next Sunday, we're going to be doing a show called The Best Damn Space. What? This is going to be attacking this question. You know, over the years, Star Citizen has been called a lot of different things. It's been called a space game. It's been called space simulator, life simulator, MMO, sandbox. It's been called a lot of different things, right? And the question is, what will the game be, right? What will the game be? Not what is it now, because I can tell you what it is now, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about what will it be, right? What will it be? And the question is, how are we going to get there? Right? How will we get there for what the game will be? There are some people who are really into economics and trading. You know, I've been hearing this whole big argument about, is the game going to be economy player driven or NPC driven? And it goes back and forth. And most recently, it's been this whole thing about player driven. I'm not so sure. I'm still not so sure about that, but we'll see. I know CIG says a lot of different things, but they say a lot of different things. And I'm curious to see whether or not traders, what do they think it will be like for them later on? What will the PvP people feel like this game will be? What will people who are into exploration feel this game will be? What do they want it to be, right? Very difficult not to try to judge Star Citizen based on where it is or where it has been, because it's always evolving and changing. We were just talking about this the other day, Serious. Ain't seen no interdictions, ain't seen the police, none of that stuff. It's all gone. And nobody's talking about it, right? That's one of those things you talked about earlier that comes and goes, right? It's gone from the game. Nobody's squawking about it right now, right? That's because it don't interfere with nobody's gameplay. But as soon as something happens with somebody's gameplay, oh, the world's burning, you know. Stuff comes and goes.
The solar flares and
the solar flares, right? God knows I was so looking forward to the solar flares, right? But they're not there yet. Radiation, not there. I mean, all these things, stuff comes and goes, right? And so the question isn't about where the game is now. The question is, will Star Citizen be the best damn space whatever? I don't care if it's space medicine, if it's space cargo, space trading, space entrepreneurship, space farming. That's what we're going to be examining next week. So hopefully you guys will join us for that, because we hope to have a really cool conversation on that topic. Okay. Coming in, yeah. Serious, why don't you talk a little bit about what's coming in possibly in May?
Oh, yes. So in May, we are developing a new show called Lore Lighthouse, and this is, I sent a high concept paper to Griffin Fastcart, pitching this show, and they didn't smack it down. So I think in May we're going to go with Lore Lighthouse, and it is examining the lore of our Star Citizen universe the Soul Citizen's way, right? So we're going to put all of the stuff that people have talked about, and a lot of stuff people have never talked about in lore, through our Soul Citizens lens. And hopefully you'll join us to just examine the wider universe in which the game inhabits. Some stuff that we've gotten, some stuff that's on the cusp that we're getting, and some stuff that may be further distant, but still is no less intriguing. So super excited to explore all of that with you. And that'll be coming in May. And we're still making determinations about date and time, but yeah, that's coming, and we're super excited about it. So.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I think that's about it. FC, you got something else?
I got Flights of Rhythm coming up this coming Friday, 2100 UTC, 5 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
Join us on the People's Radio for some rhythm and blues, maybe some pop music, and maybe a little bit of joke songs, because it's April and April Fool's passed. So I'm doing I may be doing my meme zone again. So I'm bringing that back. So yeah, join us on Friday for the people. I may be doing People's Radio for Flights of Rhythm.
You need to focus on the fact that you said April Fool's passed. You need to focus on that.
No, I don't. I can do what I want. It's my show.
Okay.
I need to be happy. I'm not doing any more New Kids in the Block songs.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I gotta work on one for May. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you. You guys make sure you guys check out Fastcart on Flights of Rhythm. Always a great show. Always great music. And we'll look forward to Lore Lighthouse during the month of May. Thank you guys for being here again today. I know we ran over a little bit today, but we covered a lot of ground. We really appreciate all of you who are here, those of you who followed, who supported, who subscribed. Don't forget to check us out on our social media whenever you can. There's always us on every social media platform. So just check us out on Soul Citizens. And don't forget to check out quantumvegas.space when you get the chance. And we are going to raid in Limbo 35, who is doing contested zones right now. So when you get over there, let them know that you came from Soul Citizens. If you like what you see, follow. And again, we want you guys, as always, to take care of yourself. Stay safe. Peace, love, and soul. See you soon. Ciao.